Welcome to Difficult Conversation Africa broadcast. I present to you the host, Yinka Olaito.
All right, welcome to Difficult Conversation Africa podcast. My name is Inka Olaito. Thank you for always being there for us. We appreciate your commitments, your comments, and all the messages you have sent to us. We really appreciate all these. And we are working on some of the things that you have made known to us as your concern. Yeah, in this episode, we are looking at family, society, and development. And as usual, you know that I will always give you the background of that of the discussion before I introduce my guest. The intersection of family and society and development is very deep, and many do not actually appreciate or do not even understand what it is. The intersection with its elements shape and influences each other, and here is what we need to know. Family form the foundation and it serves as the primary unit where individuals first learn values, behaviors, and social norms. Aside from this, the family provide emotional, economic, and social support, which eventually shapes personal and societal um, issues and how the society look like. There's no society without family. Family is the foundation of everything that we do. And if you want to look at our society and development, just check the family values and all that happens there. So, in this episode, as we look at family, society, and development, the aim is to assess trend and impact of the changes and how these are affecting society and development. My guest today, most of us know him, is a family health advocate, and more importantly, is also a counselor, is a leader, author, and is a lead counselor at Lighthouse NG. His name is Ayo Daniels. He's also a pastor too. And then we want to welcome you too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you, listeners and viewers. You're welcome to another episode of this podcast.
I've known you for not less than 20 years. I know that. And I follow you. I was one of the member of an organization where you used to lead, and one thing that stood out, and I'm not surprised that you're a family health advocate. One thing that stood out for me about you is that you have very sound memory of people's name. Number one, number two, um, you have the genuine passion for people. You want their interest, and two, you don't forget dates. I remember that you always send me birthday dates, birthday greeting almost every year, and that is something that I really value, and that shows the kind of person you are. Your passion for people, passion for changes in the society, which start from the foundation of the family. Thank you for all you do, and I really appreciate you. So when your book came out, I was not surprised, but we'll get to talk about that later. To show that, and I think it's a product of years of you dealing with human beings and changing lives. But let's go straight to the question of today. The first one is, what is your present assessment of family, society, and development, sir?
Well, thank you. I just wish you couldn't talk about that birthday messages and all that, but you just have to hit the ground running. Thank you again for having me. Uh, First, I'd like to say that the family unit is that micro unit of every society. It forms the building block of civilization. It forms the building blocks of a healthy society. And so, in the last 50, 60 years, the dynamics have changed. We used to live in communities. We used to have like a common joint responsibility to see a healthy family, which automatically translates into healthy society. But in the last 50, 60 years, civilization, economy, pressure that is coming with that has put a whole lot of pressure on the family unit, on the society, and invariably it has affected development in a general sense.
So, those changes, will you say you're happy with them, or you can't be static? We know that. Will you say that those changes have been the one that you would have loved to? Because I know that people who grew up in the 60s, 70s used to have a nostalgia of a community environment where family are raised. But today we have changed to individualistic society. Will you say that the community focused family has more advantage than individual focused family?
Yes, I think so. I think to a large extent, okay, like I break some of these challenges down. Okay, I live in a part of our city. When I first moved into that neighborhood, my next door neighbor, I didn't get to know them until
Until
until about
probably a
four
month.
months
Can you
after. It's
imagine?
4 months because they leave home very early in the morning and they come back home late. Until one day that myself and my wife just said, okay, we stay at these people's door today. And we knocked on their door before. Whereas in that community-based family, everybody knows each other.
That's true.
There are a whole lot of community parenting that goes on, community responsibilities that we all take. Even when one family is not around, we are obligated to look after one another. We are like our brothers keepers.
Yeah.
But things have changed. With the increase of civilization has also come increase in divorce rate, increase in violence, in economy pressure that has induced violence in one form or the other. So we're getting to understand the issue of pedophile. We're getting to understand the issue of children being maltreated, women being maltreated, even men being maltreated. So things have changed. It's not. I don't think anyone should say, "Oh, I'm happy with this." I knew what it was when we play football together, when we hear stories, Tales by Moonlight together, when we watch TV together. So those things, they have a way of helping us to be emotionally balanced. Every one of us, we are product of our environment, influence, and association. And the family unit seems to be that basic touch, which we've lost today.
Yeah, while this is not the focus of this conversation, you mentioned as a family advocate, how does issue of divorce affect development at emotional development of individual and at the national level? Just a thought on this, so that I don't want us to digress from what they are, but at least just a thought on that.
That's a very good one. It's a bit of concern. I talk to everyday people. The truth is that everyday people have issues, and one of those issues is the issue of divorce. I will say this with all honesty. I don't wish divorce for my enemies if I have one. It's not a very palatable experience. The aftermath is even greater. Aftermath divorce is greater than the pain of being divorced. So it's something that we have to deal with. That's the reality. Some people divorced and their businesses go down the drain. Some other people, they are just not themselves, so their productivity is reduced in the office. We can do a whole lot of like makeup, use it to cover up, but the scars basically will always be there, and then it affects. And then one painful thing about that, if that is when we realize that children are caught in the midst of those irreconcilable differences. So it's a very painful thing.
Yeah,
it affects us in the larger society.
We'll have a full discussion on that. In fact, there's a lawyer that is coming to discuss it and the implication and all of that. But I just want us to talk about it too. I just need your thought on that so that it can be part of the conversation around it. In terms of value reinforcement, strong value should foster well-adjusted individuals who drive societal development, which create an equitable and enabling environment for national development. Is that what we have presently?
Well, maybe in our city and civilization, it may be a rare thing. But I think.
But that doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah, it's there. I think if you still get to travel, I mean, I do a little bit around Africa, so I know that people who live outside the city, there are still basic things about these shared
Share
values.
values. Okay.
Yeah, there are, I mean, integrity as a value, respect as a value, kindness towards other people
Maybe
as a
those are
value.
compact societies.
Yes, so
where they can
you
know
have,
you
yeah,
immediately.
you have mentoring sort of. You still have, and I think those are the things we've lost church on. Even in our offices today, in the city, in civilization, I believe in mentoring. I believe in people role modeling for other people. I believe those who are ahead of us to teach the younger one. So they're just our society has become complex. It's like everyday people is just living the way the day unfolds itself on them. So I think there is a whole lot. But I think that community spirit, taking ownership of our society, of our community, I think that's one of the way that can help us.
Can we get that back? Is it possible?
I think it is.
How?
Individuals must have values. But
if I have value and the other person is not having value,
so I should be able to rub on them. And we were having a back-end conversation before we enter into this studio. The truth is that if I make a commitment that within my space, this is how I want to live, and you make that commitment, and it's a shared value, we don't need
shared value.
Yeah, shared value. We don't need.
But do we have shared values again?
Well, we still have it. At least I can talk to you now. And the people in this studio, there are certain things we probably hold. Some people like truth, other people like honesty.
Yeah.
So you still have a bit of this shared value. Integrity is also. So a whole lot of the times, I think these values can actually rub off on other people when we deliberately as individuals. Exemplify them. I remember, let me just quickly put this. I mean, as a parent, I remember that my own parents and every other parents that I know, if you come back from school, they check your school bag. If there are any strange things, our parents probably know the number. Yeah, but I think some parents are still doing it now. I mean, I just want to check on my child, there are certain things we don't do in our home. So when I see it displayed by my children, it's a time for me to sit and then engage them in questions. So I think it is something that we can still get back when we make. It looks so tough because of the way civilization has taken all of us. Civilization is good, but the downside of it is what we are grappling with.
Yeah. You are a family health advocate and you are passionate about healthy family. You're also a leader. Ideally, healthy families should help build resilient society as well as sustainable progress, which eventually drive holistic development.
Yeah.
Can we say we are truly building resilient kids as a resilient society today?
Well, this podcast is a difficult conversation.
That's why it is difficult, because we need to constantly re-examine some of these things.
Yeah,
and our listener out there, we want to, because some of them are looking for answers. So when we have a family health advocate who can teach, who can talk, who can advise, who can counsel, they will seem to respect whatever the individual is saying.
I think. So this is the way I like to also put this. It's not difficult for me to put it. Our first interaction with civilization is the family. Whether we all recognize that or not. Yeah. I mean, if you grow up in a family where everybody look out for each other, that's the DNA we carry into the larger society.
Yeah.
If we also grow up in a family where everybody is mean towards each other, that's the same way. I think, but what we have now, that's why it's very difficult. We tend to abdicate those responsibility of the family unit so we abdicate it to schools, we abdicate it to religious organization. Instead of us to model what we want to see, we are expecting the school teacher, the lesson teacher, we're expecting the religious body to give us the same thing that the family units should
Should.
teach. I mean, it's everything begins with the family. Honestly, I can believe otherwise. I mean, I remember very well that in our neighborhood growing up, they practically know people who steals. They practically know people who are not productive. They practically know people, and you can see someone saying, "Oh, what position did you?" Even though I know that if such question arise, the next answer will
What's
be,
your
"Are you
business?
paying for my school fees and all
What's your
that?"
business?
But the truth is that practically we have significant role models. Somebody is schooling, they say, "Oh, you will go to this university so that this person can watch over you or can model you." So you ask questions. So there is a whole lot of interaction. So I think we need to get back. We're busy. No doubt about it. That's one of the things civilization has done for us, to keep us busy. So we don't even have time to even live out these values in front of our own children or in front of our own family. Everybody goes out to make money, thinking that making the money will help them to take care of their family. Whereas we can make the money and lose our families. This is one of the things we are beginning to see.
I think the role of the media too, because it's not part of our discussion, but I've seen, particularly within the Western environment, where the media deliberately shun out and condition the mind of the children to think certain way. And to think in a certain way. And they do things in a way that the children begin to believe all those things. But like I said, that will be another topic of another day. So,
but you know that the media is program.
That's
It's programming. Most of the content are supposed to condition us, just like you said, to think, to behave, to act in a certain way. I was so sorry, let me just put this in. I was so shocked some years ago when I won't mention the name of the major artist here.
Okay.
I mean, it's a foreign artist, global artist who has won Grammy. And she said something during an interview that she doesn't allow her own kids to watch TV.
Yes, I think, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. So he said TV is someone else's junk. He said she can't afford someone else to drop their own junk on the mind of their own children. So it's media. Media is good, but the effect of what we use it for now is what is scary. I mean, conditioning people to think or act. I mean, for example, it's a make-believe world. That's what we have turned it into, where people just want to be who they are not, who they want to act out on many things. So it's the family, and then maybe we say by extension the media.
We'll get into that topic maybe in another place. Will you subscribe to the fact that modernization and urbanization and economic pressure can weaken traditional family roles?
Yes, it has. It has. I said something earlier on, the fact that I know that it's the duty of the head of the family, the wife, to support her husband, to take care of their family. But
Roles are
sometimes,
even changing now.
yeah, I mean, I understand that more women are coming up to handle things even better than men in some instances, depending on the industry. But at the same time, I think the primary vision, every family should have a family vision. So the primary responsibility is for us to take good care of our family, not just to make money, but to watch over them. I remember one of the favorite quotes of Mother Teresa. I mean, that quote never just leave me as an individual. It says, if you want to change the family, the world, go back home and change your family first. So I think that's the responsibility that we all have this day. We must look into the welfare of our family, no matter how many awards, how much accolades we get out there. If our family is not intact, it will impact our productivity negatively at the end of the day.
Yeah, like when we started, I did say that the intersection of family development, society, and development is so deep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no school of family.
Yeah, that's the
There's no school for family, but we go to school to become doctor, you become every other thing.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere you are taught family.
Yeah.
You just pick it up randomly from everywhere. Your
So
parents.
that's the where you are coming to that. That's one of the reason why I have to put that book together, honestly. Because you see, marriage, which signifies the beginning of family, it's like a school that you get a certificate before you actually go into it.
Okay.
So I mean, we go to school, we are trained to become engineer, pilots, and all these other professions. Like you rightly said, no one prepare us for the family unit. And I think that's the primary place where we can become better citizens of our society. So even though all those things they are interwoven, family, society, civilization, urbanization, development, they are all one composite unit, which we must fight for, even at this time.
Yeah. Let's come to that book because it's something that I had wanted to ask you a question about. You recently wrote the book Beyond Romance as an attempt to create a guide, a roadmap for singles and those already married. In the book, you share diverse life experiences, offer practical insight as well as undiluted knowledge. What changes do you think you want to make?
Well, you know that for a soul to be without knowledge, it is not good.
Yeah.
Even in the justice space, they said ignorance is not an excuse in the law court. So the book, if you ask me, my team understood this right from the beginning. I didn't write a book to sell books.
Yeah.
I wrote that book because of this passion that you just mentioned. I want the book to become a guide. For me, those who are already married, I have plans to write another book for them, but it's like a preemptive effort to resolve family crisis. In other words, those who are yet to be married, they can understand how it is and they can take a very good journey so that we don't continue to have casualties in the family unit. So it's like we focus, most of the time, people focus on the ceremonies around starting a family. But hey, beyond the ceremony, there is the principle of knowing who you are as an individual before you can ask someone.
Having a family vision.
Yeah, I mean, that self-awareness, that self-consciousness, that sense that I'm a responsible citizen of the society, that sense that say to me, I'm here to create value, I'm here to add my own spices to my world. So when we have that awareness, we are able to understand that marriage, for example, is something that goes beyond two people who are involved in it, a man and a woman. Marriage is for the greater good of the society. So it's just an attempt to help preempt casualties in the family unit so that we can have a better society. We have many brilliant people out there who are trained for their professions, but they need to also be informed about the concept of marriage.
You have been a family advocate for years. You are passionate about changes in life. What are some of the milestones you are so happy about?
Well, I've seen people who didn't know anything and they were well informed and they were able to start out their journey and they have stable families today. I've seen people whose homes were in disarray, but by just sitting down to apply themselves to some of the principles that we shared with them, I've seen such home restore, I've seen families restore, I've seen children also who are wayward restored to their parents and all that. So it just gladdens my heart when I see such things. Yeah, such things going on. I've seen people who says there's nothing that will bring us together again. And I've seen them reunited in love, in joy, and they're living their lives today. So those are the things that, for me, those are my rewards.
Exactly. It's not about money. It's not about. Because We appreciate people who are contributing. It's part of contributing to national development.
Yes.
When you have restore home, peaceful family,
Yeah.
those can think and contribute meaningfully.
Yeah.
Because if you have a trouble home, it will affect your productivity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will affect your productivity, not you alone.
Yeah.
When you get to your workplace, there's a way that you transfer some of these things.
Aggression to peer. In fact, in the world of human resource management, it's been found out now that when a staff begins to fight other people, other staff, when they begin to behave abnormally, I mean, they have counseling session with them to actually know whether it is good for them at home. Because whatever it is that we are experiencing at home can become a source of transferred aggression to other people in the workplace.
Okay. Yeah. Because of our time, and I want us to situate, because we know that family is a foundation for development, both as personal, corporate, and national development.
Yes.
But like we said, there are intersections here and there, how it relates to the society and national development. Poverty can limit a family's ability to support development.
Yeah.
This showed that for society and the nation to get the best from family, there's a buffer of external intervention like education and social welfare program that the government also, or people in power must also create, so that it made it easier for them to contribute. If these things are missing, it become like social value, social welfareism and all that. How do you think that if government can do this, there will be changes to what we experience at the national level?
Yes, of course. There is the concept of Maslow theory of preservation. So, what are the basic needs of every man? The food, clothing, shelter. And if you put that in context, people who steal in the public spaces today, sometimes it's because maybe their income is low, they want to do something for their family. I'm not giving that as an excuse, but that become a social problem. That people will just want to do anything to survive based on what Maslow said. Right. So I think if we put that in that public space, the government should put premium on that. Premium on education. Premium education, education that will also get people to understand. It's not just going to school, getting people to understand that they need to plan their family, and then they need to be able to take good care of their family within the resources provided. Healthcare facilities for the family. There are many things. I think government, in fact,
curriculum reform.
Yeah, it's part of it. Curriculum reform. There are things. I'm not old, but I'm still a young man. But there are things I met at school. Civics is one of them. What civics does is basically, in retrospect, it teaches about the government, teaches about our responsibility in the society. It teaches us responsibility. So out of that, extension of that, we were made to join Boys Brigade, Boy Scouts, so that we can understand the place of social development or contribution towards the larger society. These are things that educational reform will help us do. In the university too, there is a general studies in my own university then. But you see, we should bring. But we should bring.
But money
things,
are not interested in those.
We should bring things that, take for instance, in our own country here. The lines of our, maybe both old and new, of our national anthem should be something that must be taught in school, so that it helps our responsibility as citizens of the nation. There is what we read as pledge on occasions, but these things should be taught. Those are part of the things that can help us. The reason why an American will say America is the number one citizen in the world. That's the way they were taught. They were raised to think that they are the number one citizen. Exactly. Every other person is inferior to them, even though that might not be a very good mindset. Yeah, but and they think America first before they think every other nation. So it's also important that for every society who want to experience development, the citizen must be taught We must be taught to be devoted, to be loyal, to be honest, to pursue excellence, so that at the end of the day, whatever each of us do in our pockets become the things that light up our whole country. They said little candle. If you hold yours, you see this done in concerts and all that, just a light from your phone, a light from my phone, a light from every other person's phone, and the whole place is well lit. So it's the same thing. The contribution from that family unit, individual families, if we can take common responsibility for it. Where I grew up, sir, if you offend within the community, the first question people around you will ask you, whose son are you or whose daughter are you?
That was there. Nobody's asking anything.
But those are the things we can teach, because we were taught to be a brother's keeper. We are taught that wrongdoing of one person can affect the whole community and can translate into a larger influence. There is a saying that says, we call these people in our own nation here area boys. But the truth, if you say to me, the truth is a proof. Area boys are proof that are the area fathers and area mothers. So these are things that tells us that everything begins and ends with the family unit.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you for this, for your insight share. Thank you for coming. A lot of issues have been raised, particularly the last one, which required that a buffer be provided. Yes, I was not in the university in the early 70s, but some of those who were there said there were a lot of provision for them, so you don't have to steal. You don't have to steal.
Yeah, I believe that.
But today, go to our campuses, public hostel, you can't keep anything that is yours for a long time. Even in our churches, you can't even keep any. And this is where we say that people should be holy and all that. The values are going down. And therefore, it is time for us to raise the value. Family is important. National development is a reflection of what we hold as what the family sees. So we appreciate you for listening. Thank you, Pastor Ayo, for coming. Mr. Ayo Daniel, a leader, a teacher, a family advocate, and somebody, an author who just recently released his book, Beyond Romance. And I think it's something that those who are really passionate about family, passionate about how to build a good foundation in their family, it's everywhere. You can actually pick it up, Amazon and all of them in some of the books stores in Nigeria, and I'm sure that you will be. I want to say thank you once again. My name is Yinka Olaito. Please do get back to us in some of the issues that are of concern to you. Please use our DM. Then please follow or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also on LinkedIn. We are on Instagram and all of that. But if you don't want to do that, and you want a private conversation, info@difficultconversationafrica.org. We will respond to you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being there. See you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode. For inquiry, please send an email to info@difficultconversationafrica.org. Telephone 0809 3160 591. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @Difficult Conversation Africa. See you soon.